Hi, it's Celeste, your canary in the coal mine. So today I wanted to talk to you about sunscreens. I was excited because my latest issue of Consumer Reports, which was the July 2018 Consumer Reports, just came, and there was an article about the best and the worst sunscreens in it. And I thought, yay, I'm looking forward to that. I really like Consumer Reports. I've been a subscriber to them for over 40 years, and I like their product recommendations. So I turned to the article on the sunscreens and read the text, and then went to the table where they recommended various sunscreens. And what I decided to do was I decided to go from the top of the list on down, and also go to the EWG website where they had reviews of the safety of sunscreens, and just kind of go down the Consumer Reports list, which is in order of their recommendations, until I found the highest ones that EWG thought were really safe. And here's what I found. I went down and down and down the Consumer Reports list, well down into, they only had a 50% rating on it, and nothing on the Consumer Reports list matched up with the EWG list. Now that really surprised me, because I thought, well, surely in the top 5 or 10 that's in the Consumer Reports, I'm going to find one that overlaps with the safety recommendations of EWG, but I didn't. So I thought, this is really interesting. So I wrote myself a list of what EWG said were safe sunscreens to use. And I recognized right away that some of them I was probably not going to find in your conventional drugstore or discount store, because they were brands that are typically kind of small brands that may be carried on the internet or in health food stores. But I wrote down my list, and then I went over to my local Walgreens, and I thought, okay, I'm going to look at what they have on the shelf here, and I'm going to try to match it up with this list of safe products from EWG. And there was very little overlap. Walgreens had 2 big displays of sunscreens, which included brands like Neutrogena, Banana Boat, the Walgreens store brand, Hawaiian Tropic, Aveeno, CeraVe, the Baby Ganix brand, Coppertone, Bullfrog, and L'Oreal. And the only 2 brands that matched the EWG list were Neutrogena and Coppertone. None of the other ones fell into the good ratings on the EWG. EWG tends to rate their products from 1 to 8, and 1 and 2 are good, go ahead and use them. 2 down to I think about 5 or 6 is caution, use these sparingly, and then below that it's don't even think about using these. So what I was finding was that most of the brands that Consumer Reports were recommending got a review of 5 or lower from EWG. And you can't go by the entirety of the line of a certain brand. You have to actually read in detail the name of the product, because there might be something in for example, Coppertone that is a 5, but there might be another one that's a 2. And so putting these concepts together, standing there in front of the Walgreens display, out of probably over 100 different kinds of sunscreens, I found 5 that had a good enough rating with EWG that I would have been willing to buy them. Or I guess I found 4, but one of them, they had the brand, they just didn't have that particular kind, so maybe it's easy to find someplace else. But it was in the Coppertone line, there was Water Babies Pure and Simple Sunscreen Stick SPF 50. Now that's one that the brand was there, but I couldn't find that particular product description. And then there was Coppertone Defend and Care Face Sunscreen Lotion SPF 30. Well, I found that one in SPF 50, so I felt pretty good about that. And then there was Neutrogena Pure and Free Baby Sunscreen SPF 50, and that one was there, and that's the one I ended up buying. And I'm buying it for me. I'm not buying it for a baby, because I figure that these manufacturers, if they're smart, tend to produce purer products for babies than for anyone else. So if I were to buy a product that's good for a baby, then I'm less likely to have a skin reaction from it. I'm less likely for it to be toxic, because sensible companies know that babies are super sensitive to toxins, that much lower doses of toxins in products hurt the babies, whereas adults with their bigger bodies and they're more life, I want to say experience, but it's more like they've gotten into adulthood, they typically can tolerate more of something that a baby can't tolerate much of. And I think parents too are really a lot more concerned about babies. So EWG has a list of sunscreens. They have a list for like adults and teenagers, and then they have a list for children and babies. And so I found that Neutrogena Pure and Free Baby Sunscreen SPF 50 on the baby list, and that's the one I ended up buying. And what else did I find? Okay, there was another Neutrogena one called Sheer Zinc Dry Touch SPF 50 that was also on the EWG, thought it was a quality product health-wise. I think I said the other one, Coppertone Defend and Care Face Sunscreen Lotion. Yeah, so of this big massive display at Walgreens, I could only get a very few products that were actually on EWG's list, and of the things that were listed in Consumer Reports as good values and good price, and they had characteristics like they protected you from the sun for X number of hours and all this kind of stuff. Virtually none of them had a good health rating on EWG's website. So the thing is, buying the EWG, now I don't know that other information that the Consumer Reports list told me. But oh well, I think having a quality product that's not likely to poison me is probably better for me than worrying so much maybe about other issues. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. You can't assume that just because one product in a particular brand is good for health-wise, that the whole line is good, because that's not true. It could be, some products could be a 1 on the EWG ratings, and other products in that same brand name could be a 7. So, and if you're good with using the internet and stuff like that, you have many more choices. You can just order things from various health food stores and so forth, and Amazon online, and get products that really have good ratings with EWG. So that's what I wanted to say today, and I hope that gives you some useful information. And by all means, even though I'm sure you're using the sunscreen on yourself, be extra careful with the sunscreens that you buy for your kids, because like I say, with their smaller body size, they can't tolerate as much toxins in products, so really try to keep those products as clean as possible. So that's it for today, and as usual, I want you to get well and stay well. Thanks.